Shreveport woman and her family are demanding answers after her son's near-death experience at Lake D'Arbonne in Farmerville. Devontae Martin has the story.
A beam of light. Christopher Gilbert has always lit up the room. Gilbert, who recently graduated with his master's degree from Louisiana Tech University, was planning to become a doctor. But on April 14th, the 26-year-old's life took a turn after he ended up in the water of Lake D'Arbonne in Farmerville. Chris and a group of friends went down to the lakefront restaurant Red's Tails and Shells, and according to Union Parish Police, the friend group said he just kind of fell into the water. After further investigation, it was discovered that the group was horseplaying, and deputies say a woman from the group pushed Chris into the water. The sheriff's office says he was underwater at least 5 minutes until bystander Dawson Faust rescued him from the water. After being transported to a Shreveport hospital, Gilbert has since been in critical condition with little improvement. His mother, Yolanda George, says the past 2 weeks have been hard.
Emotionally strained, mentally drained. It's just been a nightmare not knowing day to day what to expect, from his condition.
With Gilbert still being on 2 life support machines, George says the incident has dimmed the light on his future.
My baby, all he ever wanted to do was be a doctor, and to watch him go through what he's going through, he don't deserve it, not knowing what his quality of life is going to be when this is over.
The Farmerville Police Department is now investigating the incident. George says she still does not know what all happened that day.
Who's ever responsible for my child, and I mean everybody that's responsible, I want accountability. I want justice.
A community prayer vigil is being held for Chris at 2 p.m. Wednesday at Oshner LSU in Shreveport. Reporting in Farmerville, Devontae Martin, KNOE 8 News.
Well, some